Yet where is the Home Secretary, who is in charge of these policies? She's gone to ground. There are reports she's not even going to do media. She's not come to this House. She's in internal meetings, presumably more private courses arranged by the civil servants. What is the point of her? To ask the Home Secretary to make a statement on the net migration and other migration figures today.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Net migration to the United Kingdom is far too high. That was already clear from the previous set of official data. The ONS have today amended their previous published estimate of net migration for the year ending June 2022 to 606,000. The statistics published today indicate that net migration has flatlined since then. In the year ending December 2022, they estimate that net migration remains at 606,000. These particularly high figures are in large part due to temporary and exceptional factors, such as the UK's Ukraine and Hong Kong BNO schemes. Last year, more than 200,000 Ukrainians and 150,000 Hong Kong British nationals overseas made use of the routes to life or time in the United Kingdom. These schemes command broad support from the British public, and we were right to introduce them. The government remains committed to reducing overall net migration to sustainable levels. That is a solemn promise we made to the British public in our manifesto, and we are unwavering in our determination to deliver it. This week we announced steps to tackle the substantial rise in the number of student dependents coming to the UK. The package of measures will ensure that we can reduce migration whilst continuing to benefit from the skills and resources our economy needs, because universities should be in the education business, not the immigration business. We expect this package to have a tangible impact on net migration. Taken together with the easing of temporary factors, like our exceptional humanitarian offers, we expect net migration to fall to pre-pandemic levels in the medium term. Mr. Speaker, the public rightly expect us to control our borders, whether that is stopping the boats and addressing illegal migration, or whether it's ensuring levels of legal migration do not place undue pressure on public services, on housing supply or integration. The government is taking decisive action on both counts. Under the points-based system we introduced post-Brexit, we can control immigration, we must control immigration, and we will.
Shadow Home Secretary back.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today's extraordinary figures, including doubling the number of work visas since the pandemic, show that the Conservatives have no plan and no grip on immigration. They show the chaos in this government. Work visas are up 119% since before the pandemic. Conservatives have totally failed to tackle endemic skills shortages and get people back to work. Net migration is more than twice the level that ministers were aiming for, and considerably more than that compared to the Home Secretary's claimed aims. The asylum backlog is at a record high, the opposite of the Prime Minister's promise to clear the backlog this year, and less than 1% of last year's small boat arrivals have had a decision. Yet where is the Home Secretary, who is in charge of these policies? She's gone to ground. There are reports she's not even going to do media, she's not come to this House, she's in internal meetings, presumably more private courses arranged by the civil servants. What is the point of her? Net migration should come down, and we would expect it to do so. But the continued gap between the government's reality and the government's rhetoric and the reality is very damaging. Rightly, the UK has given support to Ukraine and Hong Kong. As rightly, we welcome international students who bring substantial benefits, but changes on family are sensible. International recruitment will also always be important, so we get the skills and talent we need. But this is a major increase in employers turning to overseas recruitment, and the government has no plan to increase training or properly tackle those skills shortages from here at home. So on health and social care, one of the biggest areas, why will he not agree agree to Labour's plan to increase the training for nurses and doctors in the UK paid for by getting rid of the non-DOMS exemption? Will he ditch the unfair 20% wage discount that means shortage occupations can actually undercut and pay below the going rate, making it even harder to get the training and the skills and the fair recruitment that we need? Everyone should be paid the going rate. Mr. Speaker, there has been no action at all to address the huge backlog in the asylum system and to make sure that claims are properly processed. Immigration is important to this country, and we need a system that works, but it has to be properly controlled and managed, rather than the chaos that the government has created.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Labour Party feigns interest in cutting net migration, but I can assure the Right Honourable Lady that nobody is buying it. Last week, the chair of the Labour Party said that under Labour, net migration would go up in the short term. The leader of the Labour Party stood on a campaign pledge to defend freedom of movement if the UK remained outside of the EU. He said that there is a racist undercurrent which permeates all immigration laws. Does the Shadow Home Secretary agree with them? At every possible opportunity, Labour have voted against every measure that this government has brought forward to control migration. They voted against ending free movement, and at every turn they voted against measures to tackle illegal migration. Just recently they voted against the illegal migration bill, because the truth is, Mr. Speaker, the Labour Party have no interest in controlled and orderly migration. The Conservative Party is taking tangible steps to bring down net migration. Yesterday, we took a decisive step to clamp down on student dependence, because universities should be selling education, not immigration. Belatedly, the Shadow Home Secretary says she agrees with that. Mr. Speaker, the Conservative Party made a solemn promise to the British public to reduce net migration. Thanks to Brexit, we now have the tools at our disposal to do that. We can and we must deliver.